Hi, welcome to another edition of The Mainframe, and today we're talking with Paul Blough from Blough Tech again about some of the issues that maybe you deal with computers and technology. And today we're talking about something that just about everybody has within arm's length of themselves, and that is your smartphone and mobile devices and keeping it safe. So today we're going to talk about what to do with your mobile devices and security. And Paul, most people worry about protecting their computers from outside intrusions, from viruses, malware, etc. But should we be worried about that kind of stuff on our phone?
Oh, absolutely, and it depends on what platform you're using. And by platform, I mean our Android smartphone or a Apple iOS smartphone, Windows Mobile, and then of course the old reliable BlackBerry that is
Breathing its last breath.
Not been doing too good here lately. But each of those has some different security requirements. Of course, the most popular right now is the Android operating system, and it runs on a lot of different devices. And there are a couple of issues with Android that are very unique. And one is that, like, versus say both Microsoft and Apple really only have one format. They have their operating system on their devices that they support, and it's very consistent. But Android is more of an open framework, and so we have all kinds of versions of Android, all kinds of customizations based on each of the phones. And as a result of that flexibility, which a lot of people really like because it gives them the ability to do whatever they want to on that phone, make it look however they want to look at. But that openness also invites a greater opportunity for people to have infections that directly affect that. And so almost all of the viruses that we hear about that are mobile-based attack the Android operating system. There is very little, if any, evidence of any attacks going into the Apple ecosystem or Microsoft's ecosystem at this particular point. Both the Macintosh and the iOS product system are designed a little bit more conscientious from a security standpoint. Apple is more of a closed platform, and they want to have a little bit more control over everything from hardware to software. But, so that allows them to control their security a little bit more, but at the same point you lose some flexibility. Now, Apple believes that they can give a consistent user experience, a better experience for their users by controlling both pieces of that, whereas Microsoft on the PC front and Android on the mobile front want to have that open in architecture. But we've had about a 600% growth in virus infections in the Android ecosystem, and that's why we actually don't recommend Android to our clients.
To business clients especially?
We do not, yeah. We tell them to use iOS, or we tell them to use iOS. The other two are options, but we don't have anybody that are using those any longer.
So if you have an Android phone, though, don't throw it away. There are some things you can do.
Sure.
I mean, I had an Android phone until about maybe 2 years ago, and I used to run a virus protection program on it. Yep. So that kind of stuff is available.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we would recommend. If you're going to run an Android operating system, whether that's on a tablet or on a phone, you need to have an antivirus product running on there. And you need to make sure it's a reliable and a name brand product, because one of the things that's happened is that there's been some fake product out there.
Yeah.
And so you go into the Play Store, or you go to some of the Android devices will allow you to add software without even going through the Google Store. And you can get an antivirus product that looks like it's a great product and actually doesn't do anything at all. You pay $1 or $2, $3 for it, and it literally doesn't do anything other than sit on your phone. There's also some fake ones out there that are actually viruses themselves, and so you got to be really careful about doing your research. You go with a name brand, look at the reviews, look at making sure it comes from a reliable company, and you'll be fine.
All right. Now, another thing that is an issue with our phones here, and mine, as you can see, is an iPhone, even though I put a different back on it, is that if I leave this in your office or at a restaurant somewhere, someone can pick it up and take it with them and get access to all the data and information and files that are on my phone. So what do I do about keeping people off my phone? Or if you have an Android phone or a Windows phone, is there something that we can do to get people, if they find our phone somewhere, not to be able to get into it?
Sure. And this is a growing problem. To start with, we had big desktops and nobody lugged those around, and so we really weren't worried about that whatsoever. and they weren't even networked together. And then as we started networking them, we got concerned about other people getting into them from within the organization. Then we added the internet. Now people outside of our company are trying to get into them. And now we have portable computers, and then these even more incredibly small computers. And that's really what a smartphone is a computer that are very easy to leave behind.
Right.
Could slip off of your side. I wear mine on my side. You know, I have an iPhone as well. I have the iPhone 5S. And one of the things that's really nice about this, and if you look at the iPhone 5S, is it has a lock screen. And if I want to be able to get into my phone, what I have to do is I've got to actually put in a entry code. Now, with the 5S, they also have a fingerprint scanner, so I can actually just use my thumb to be able to open it up and be able to get right into it at that particular point. So I think it's a really a good tool, but PIN codes are, to me, a requirement. There's just no issues about that. You should, if you have a smartphone, you need to put a PIN code on it so that when you get into it. Now, if you have to put in that code. Now, if that's irritating to you, and that's really what most people say, is that I don't want to use a PIN code because every time I want to check my messages or I want to make a call or whatever, I don't want to put in a 4-digit code. That's just too irritating. That's why Apple came out with that fingerprint reader and code. I mean, it's just as simple, and I'll try to do it from the standpoint of here, and all I've got to do is I put my thumb on it and it opens right back up. So very, very easy to work with. This is very, very quick, just very transparent. And that's something that Apple has done very well in this particular platform with the 5S. And I think we'll see it integrated in more and more devices. And there'll be other ways to use biometrics, such as fingerprint reading, and even maybe with using the camera for facial recognition, things like that will make it easy and secure. But whatever you've got, make sure that you put something in there to protect it so that somebody can't just pick up your phone and get right into your information.
All right, so say for instance I lose my phone somewhere, and this did happen to me. I dropped my phone at the gas station, and it was laying on the ground, out there on the ground, and actually somebody ran over it with their car. Thank goodness I had it in the case. It has like a little scratch on it here. But if I lose my phone, how do I find it again? I mean, how do I locate the thing?
Right, so there's a couple ways of handling that. One is using, like in the iPhone, they've got a phone finding application, and you can go in there and you can actually make the phone make a noise, make it beep until you can locate it. You also go use the mapping software to try to figure out exactly where it is. Mobile management is something that we do with our enterprise customers, our business clients, and what it allows us to do is to do things even like remote wipes. And so, say you can't figure out where you left your phone, or maybe it's in a moving location.
Or someone picked it up that doesn't want you to find it.
Exactly, they're not going to return it. And so they're trying to hack into your PIN code. Well, there are a couple things that we can do. One is that we can set it up so that if you put in the PIN code incorrectly, say 10 times in a row, that it automatically wipes the phone. And it doesn't mean you'll lose everything on that, but you ought to be backing up your phone in pictures and anything that you have on it, just the same as you would back up your computer. And if you're not doing that, you need to start doing it right away. Because that's, a lot of people have gotten very important information, pictures in particular, on their phones that it's very critical to them that they wouldn't want to lose. And so it's a very simple process, either an online tool that's built into the operating system like iPhoto does within the Mac, or just hooking your phone up to your computer and downloading those pictures. So, but mobile management allows us to do things like remote wipe. And so you could call me and say, get somebody else's phone, give me a call and say, I don't know what I just did. I lost my phone. I don't know where it is, and I'm really concerned. I've got a very, very sensitive document on there. And I could go, okay, no problem, Jeff. We're logging into the system right now. We have executed a command, and we're wiping out all of your information off of that. And so having those kind of tools, especially for business users, is really, really important.
Now, when you access the phone remotely from your office here, can you also get the data off of it before you wipe it? Is that possible?
Sometimes, depends on the tool that's being used. And so if a higher end tool is used, perhaps that can be done. Phones still are somewhat limited to in their capabilities compared to a full-out PC.
Right.
And so some of the things that are relatively easy for us to do on PCs are still a little bit more difficult. And this changes each year. Probably a lot of people know that Apple, usually twice a year, make announcements. And then just a couple of days ago, they made the announcement for the new iOS 8 and the new Macintosh operating system will be coming out this fall. What we see is every year, Apple and Android for that matter too, what they do is they add new business-related features. And Apple made a big deal of adding some security features and some more features specifically for the business environment, which makes it easier for us to manage these devices.
All right, here's one thing that I know that is an issue with PCs is that someone sends you an email and has an attachment to it. If you don't know who it is, you should never, absolutely never, ever open up the attachment.
Correct.
Because that's a good way for them to get viruses and
Right.
malware. Does that happen on your cell phone as well? Because people send you emails on your cell phone that have attachments.
Right.
Now, should we not open up emails or open up email attachments if we don't know who it's coming from?
Absolutely not.
Even on a cell phone?
Even on a cell phone, because you have to remember, we need to probably really should stop calling them cell phones, and we should start calling them computers.
Yeah.
It's really what they are. And even though there is some security and some differences built into them, they still are susceptible. And since this is the device that most people are using now, it's going to be the device that the hackers and the attackers are going to target.
Right.
So, and that's exactly what we're beginning to see. Less viruses on the PCs, less things to worry about there as the attack gets focused in onto these devices. And it can be simple things like where they'll try to take over your SMS messaging and send messages to pay services, or even take over and make phone calls to pay services so that you run up a big expensive bill on your phone bill. That's we've seen those type of attacks. One thing that just happened, and this actually happened to Apple, it's the first time I've seen this kind of thing occur there, is people have been compromising the iCloud, which is integrated into all of the Apple products, and so they've been going in there and figuring out people's passwords and locking their phones in the middle of the night and making it play really awfully loud music. And you look at the screen and it says this device has been locked by whatever the hacker's name is, and if you want it unlocked, send me $100 in bitcoins so that you can get your phone back. And basically the phone is bricked until you pay your ransom, or you get Apple or somebody to try to fix it, but you're going to lose all your information if you do that.
Yeah. Now, since the phone uses a radio signal, which is how it transmits data back and forth, how easy it is for someone to intercept that signal if I'm making a phone call, to you. I'm out in the parking lot, I'm calling you. If the guy's got some kind of a tuner, can he listen into our phone call?
I suppose if they're sophisticated enough, and they'd have to be pretty sophisticated, they could, because almost all of this is done with encryption algorithms. iMessage, for instance, which is the text messaging that's built into Apple and is used from Apple to Apple products in particular, is an encrypted product, and so you'd have to be able to decrypt that, which means you'd have to have a key. You have to figure out what the key is to be able to go in there and unlock that. So it's a little bit more difficult than just putting on a set of ears and listening to what the conversation is going on, like we would maybe over like a wireless broadcast, baby monitors and things like that. So a little bit more complicated than that. So that's not as, I'm not going to say it's not a concern. It's not as big of a concern as some of the other areas.
All right, so we just have a few seconds left. Basic security. What do I need to do with my phone right now?
PIN code. Make sure you've got a PIN code on your phone. Don't let anybody just be able to get into it. It'll save you a lot of grief, whether it's just somebody picking up your phone and using it when you don't want them to do, or sending a text message on your behalf that you wouldn't never have sent out. Put a PIN code on. That's the safest thing you can do. And then, like you said just a minute ago, make sure that you don't just randomly click on things or go to websites that you ought not to go to. If you've got a suspicion, just delete the email and get rid of it. Don't go to questionable websites, and that will save you a lot.
And of course, there's all kind of tips on the Blough Tech website. You can watch more of the mainframe at wgre.net, blouhtech.com. Check out both of our YouTube channels with lots of great videos. We'll be back next week with another fascinating subject about technology and how to make it work for you right here on the mainframe. Thanks for watching.